Auto Obsessed here. We're going to show you how to clean your exhaust tips, keep them maintained and looking new. To achieve this, we have products manufactured by P21S, Sonus, Chemical Guys, 1Z Einzit, Grills Garage, Buff and Shine Steel Wool, some miscellaneous brushes, and our dark bottom of the car wash mitt. The products you choose will depend on the condition of the exhaust tips. What we do here for a best practice is we start out and try to achieve most of this in our wash stage. So starting out with our wash solution and just our undercarriage mitt. That probably won't take a lot off, but at least takes the dirt and contaminants off the tips. To go further, we usually use a polishing soap. This is a polishing soap by P21. It's very similar to an SOS pad. So you would wet the sponge, put the sponge in the soapy solution, and we would polish and trying to remove as much of the debris as we can. If it needs more than that yet, we would go with a steel wool. We carry a few different types of steel wool, a few different grades, a 00, 000, and quadruple 0. Same thing, we'll dip the steel wool in water, rub it into the polishing soap. This will get rid of most of the contamination, most of the debris on the exhaust tips. In addition, we can use a strong APC with some brushes, and this we can use inside just to get that trailing edge or a little bit farther into the exhaust tip. If we need anything further than this, then sometimes we'll go with an aluminum restore product by Sonus. This has a little bit of acid in it. We'll do this as well in the wash stage. This might loosen up some of the carbon buildup on the exhaust tip. We do this as well in the wash stage. We'll rinse it off thoroughly. That's about as much as we're going to get done in the wash stage. Then what we do is once the vehicle's dry and we're finished with the vehicle at that point, we'll go in and do the polishing stage on the exhaust tips. So we'll start out by hand. We might use something like P21S, Grills Garage, for example, Chemical Guys, or something a bit stronger, we use the Sonus aluminum polish. If still we can't get it achieved by hand, then we might bring in a machine and machine polish the exhaust tips with aluminum polish. Once we get the tips to where we want them, it's very important to put some sort of protection barrier on them. The Sonus aluminum sealant works fantastic for this. So we'll use that. Some of the nano coatings are also available for exhaust tips. And then in between washing, we just do the wash stage, and most of the time the exhaust tips will remain clean from there once they're fully protected. So now we'll go on and work on the exhaust tip, see what kind of steps we're going to need to bring these back to a near new finish. Upon further inspection, these exhaust tips have not been cleaned in quite a while. They've got a lot of carbon buildup. It's going to need quite a bit more than just the soap solution and polishing soap. So I'm going to start out with just letting it pre-soak a little bit with an all-purpose cleaner. This one here is Einzit 1Z. It's quite strong. I'm just going to spray it on straight. We can already see some carbon coming off. We can use some of our wheel brushes. I'm going to use the stronger one right now. Kidding me. This we can get a little bit of the edge done. We can see the carbon coming out. This is why it's a really good idea as well to be wearing gloves. You can see that APC is starting to cut quite well. I'm going to go into the polishing soap stage now. We'll see how much of this we can take off at this stage. We're probably going to have to go a little bit coarser with it, but we'll start out with this. So I've got a good amount of soap. This seems to work a lot better if we've got quite a bit of soap on it. I'm just going to scrub the edges. I want to make sure this car, the exhaust tips are very close to the bumper. I don't want to contact the bumper. I don't want to scratch the bumper at all. So I'm just being careful with it. The top of it's coming out really nice. We're going to have to work quite a bit on this bottom part of it. And then get as far as you can down. Just going to rinse it out. Put some more soap on it. Just going to continue on using the polishing soap to try and get this buildup removed. It's already coming out quite well. There's still going to be a couple stages here. It is a really heavy buildup. So let's just finish this up with the polishing soap. I'm just using my fingers to protect the top part here, just so we're not running the soap against it. Okay, I'm just going to rinse it off. We'll just get an inspection of how this is coming out. So we can see we did get a lot of it off, but I've got the big buildup on the bottom, which is normal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use some of the steel wool with the polishing soap. The steel wool is a bit more abrasive. We're going to try and take off all of it in this stage now. This looks like it's going to work really well. So for this example, I'm using the 000 steel wool. So it takes a little bit of elbow grease, but it is coming out. Again, I'm running my fingers to protect, so I'm not running the steel wool up against the paint. These are really tight, so they're difficult. What we can do in between them as well is we can use a wheel brush, and this will clean them. Get right in between there, between the body. We can just gently use a wheel brush as well. And again, we can use something like this for the inner. So we'll rinse it off and we'll take a look and see if we need any more stages on this wash stage. Okay, so upon final inspection, most of this is off. We just need to work this a little bit more with the steel wool. There's some on this top edge on here. For my likings, I like it to come in a little ways, but we're just about there. I'm just going to put some of the polishing soap directly onto the steel wool. That really helps a lot. Just going to get inside there. It's coming along very well. We've got about as much completed as we can in the wash stage. If we take a look at it, the carbon buildup and the soot on the edges and on the inner and outer side is already removed. We've got a little bit of damage. This is normal from them being left with that carbon on it for so long. So the coating itself is damaged, but we're very happy with the way it came out. We can't do any more in the wash stage now. So we're going to go now and do a mild polish on it. We'll put a sealant on it. The sealant's just going to keep it easier to maintain. So from this point forward, you wash your vehicle, you can most of the time just take the undercarriage wash mitt and wipe them off, then go ahead and do a light polish and a sealant every now and then. The P21S metal polish works phenomenal, takes away bluing a lot of times, the yellowing, brightens stuff up. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of the polish onto a microfiber applicator, and I'm just going to apply the metal polish. Try and get some on that edge. Put a bit more on here. This product works very easily. Sometimes you use a little bit of elbow grease with it just to get some of the staining out, but again, we got as much staining as we're going to get out in the wash stage. So this now, we're just doing this to brighten up the tips. These ones are difficult to get around everything. We would normally take more time and go further back with it, do the entire exhaust tip, but for this demonstration, we're just going to do the front of it. So we'll just let that, put a little bit more in, and we'll let it sit, we'll let it haze up, and once it hazes up, we'll use a microfiber and we'll just buff it off by hand. We've let the polish haze, and now we're just going to take it off with one of our value microfibers. You can see already very nice and bright. So once I get all the polish off, then we can go and do our sealant. And that took off any of the yellowing. It's just a very, very bright look now. So we're going to use a Sonus aluminum sealant. We're just going to use another microfiber applicator. Put some on the applicator. And we're just going to coat the entire exhaust tip. Again, what this does is it just increases the longevity of the polish we did. It helps during the maintenance side of it. You might have to do this, just depends on your area and if you're, how much carbon your car puts out the back. You might have to do this maybe every month, every couple months, just depends. But we find that really increases how long we can go in between polishing. We've let the sealant haze, now we're just going to take it off. And you can't feel this, but it is just silky smooth. Just going to take it all off. And there you have it. You can see the results of our after, just how much of a turnaround these exhaust tips made. We got really great results on these exhaust tips. These products and other premium detailing products can be found online at autoobsessed.com.